Every January, the internet floods your feed with lists of 30, 40, or 50 books you absolutely need to read this year. It creates a quiet, creeping anxiety that you are constantly falling behind on acquiring knowledge. We consume these books because the act of reading tricks our brain. Flipping pages feels like forward momentum, but absorbing someone else's framework without applying it is just intellectual entertainment. Getting true leverage out of a book requires a highly specific sequence. You have to identify exactly where your life is bottlenecked, find the specific framework that solves it, and then pay the behavioral price that the book demands. You have the massive universe of what you read, the smaller circle of what you retain, and the absolute tiny sliver of what you actually execute. That glowing center is the only place where your life actually changes. Everything else is just noise. So stop asking the internet which book is best. The only question that matters is, where are you stuck right now? To get unstuck, we have to stop treating these titles like literary achievements. They are functional toolkits, and you only reach for a specific tool when you have a specific problem to fix. This decision tree maps the three main bottlenecks trapping ambitious people: a breakdown in systems and behavior, a deficit of wealth and time, or a collapse in psychology and expectations. We'll decode the frameworks for each and the exact trade-off you must accept. Let's start with the systems bottleneck. This is for you if you rely entirely on motivation. You set a massive goal on a Sunday night, buy all the gear, and completely abandon the effort 3 weeks later. Breaking this cycle requires James Clear's Atomic Habits framework. The input here isn't trying harder. It is engineering your physical environment so that the right behavior becomes the most obvious and frictionless option available. You stop chasing a massive overnight overhaul. Instead, you commit to an unglamorous, barely noticeable 1% improvement every single day. Look at this chart, the plateau of latent potential. We expect progress at a 45-degree angle, but reality is a flat line that eventually curves upward. During that long, flat period, daily 1% improvements produce zero visible results. The scale isn't moving. This is the harsh trade-off. Engineering habits is incredibly boring. You sacrifice the emotional rush of announcing a massive goal, replacing it with repetitive, quiet execution. Mastering your daily systems means you are explicitly trading the thrill of immediate validation for the delayed gratification of compounding returns. The second bottleneck is wealth. You have a great salary, but your bank accounts are stagnant. Your calendar is packed, and you have zero control over your own schedule. The trap here is confusing being rich with being wealthy. Being rich is displaying status symbols: a high car payment, a luxury watch, a massive mortgage. True wealth means your money works in the background, giving you total control over your time. This distinction anchors Robert Kiyosaki's core philosophy in Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
The core rule is simple. Prioritize buying assets that put money in your pocket and stop buying liabilities that pull money out. Once you understand that, the execution relies on Nick Maggiuli's rule. Automate your investments. You just keep buying income-producing assets every single month, completely ignoring what the market is doing. But to afford assets, watch this equation change. Mathematically, savings equals income minus expenses. Psychologically, Morgan Housel argues that savings equals needs minus ego. That ego variable represents every dollar spent to show other people you have money. It's the upgraded phone, the premium label, the social validation. Escaping the wealth bottleneck demands a brutal trade-off. You have to be comfortable enduring social invisibility. You have to be willing to look poorer than your peers right now. True wealth is achieved by actively lowering your ego today, so you have the capital to buy absolute freedom over your time tomorrow. The final bottleneck is psychology and expectations. This is when you are paralyzed by what your family expects, weighed down by past trauma, or exhausted by trying to conform to societal rules. The antidote to this paralysis is found in the work of Alfred Adler, a psychologist who built a framework of radical accountability. Adler presents a harsh concept. There is no such thing as trauma dictating your future. He argues that you alone choose the meaning of your past experiences, and your only job is to separate your life tasks from the expectations of everyone else. To accept that, Look at how the expectations of everyone else are actually built. In Sapiens, Yuval Noah Harari points out that the constraints we stress over, money, the corporate ladder, social status, do not exist in nature. Trade-off. You must take 100% accountability for your current state. You can no longer blame your boss, your parents, or the economy. Achieving absolute psychological liberation means accepting friction. You must have the terrifying courage to be disliked and the willingness to alienate anyone who demands that you conform to their fiction. The overarching truth here is that no framework will work for you unless you are fully prepared to accept the specific pain it demands. This matrix gives you your exact prescription. If your actions don't align with your goals, your prescription is atomic habits, and your trade-off is the sheer boredom of daily consistency. If you are trapped in the rat race, your prescription is the psychology of money, and your trade-off is completely suppressing your ego. And if you are paralyzed by pressure, your prescription is the courage to be disliked, and your trade-off is the friction of nonconformity. Drop the goal of reading 30 books this year. Pick the single book that addresses the exact bottleneck you are facing today. Identify the bottleneck, accept the uncomfortable psychological trade-off, and execute the framework. Everything else is just entertainment.